Welcome. My name is Celeste. I will be leading you today in an introduction to yoga. As a person in long-term recovery from alcohol, I have found yoga to be a useful tool for integration of my body, mind, and spirit by relieving my stress. Those negative stresses that show up from outside stimulus, and my breath helps to connect me to the body. The practice of yoga and using our breath allows us to drop down into our movements while still focusing on positive intentions such as peace, joy, ease, kindness. I have found yoga to be an incredibly useful tool in my sobriety by giving me great moments of presence through the breath. So let's start our practice by getting comfortable on our seats. So sitting on your mat with one foot stacking in front of the other. Allow the shoulders to stack above the hips. Let the spine become nice and straight. And you can close your eyes here, hands are resting on the knees, or you can set a soft gaze in front of you, maybe focusing on something really centered in front of you. And come into the breath. Come into those inhales and those exhales. And as you breathe, let the breath become longer and deeper. I'm going to start our practice by sharing a little reading with you that will help us guide our practice from one breath to the next. This is from a book, The Art of Forgiveness, Loving Kindness, and Peace by Jack Kornfield. We can cultivate compassion for others and strive to alleviate suffering in the world. Yet still there are many situations we are unable to affect. As the Serenity prayer says, may I have the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So as we practice today, maybe allow a little bit of that to be your focus. So finding that serenity in the body of knowing the things we can change, accepting those that we can't, and then being wise enough to change what we can. And so as we move into the practice, think about those things that maybe are holding you back. Possibly it's a thought, possibly it's the body. Is the body holding you back from reaching a little bit deeper? Or maybe even moving into the pose. And just finding serenity around it if you can, and also if you cannot. And at the end of the day, it's the wisdom of finding out which it is that you can do today. So let's take just a couple more breaths here. Allow the inhale to be a 4-cone inhale. And the exhale, a 5-cone exhale. So breath in. Breath out. And breath in. One more breath in. And a final breath out. And just gently open the eyes if you've closed them. Let the gaze be forward. And again, check in with the shoulders, check in with the spine. We're going to come into just a little neck roll. Getting a little stretch into the cervical spine. So take an inhale here. And at the exhale, drop your chin down towards your chest. So you're getting a nice stretch in the back of the neck. Gaze is down towards your navel. And continuing to breathe, finding a little peace in the breath as you hold the pose. And then take a breath in and breath out. And at your next inhale, drop your right ear over to your right shoulder. So now we're getting a little stretch through the left side of the neck. Take the right palm and let it rest gently on the side of the head. No pulling down, just a gentle rest. Getting a nice stretch through this space all the way into the trapezius. Couple more breaths here. Now take an inhale. Bring that hand down and exhale, drop the chin back down. And then inhale, drop left ear to left shoulder. Take left hand and rest that on the side of the right head. And again, coming into the stretch on this other side. Take an inhale. Bring that hand back down. Exhale, drop your chin back down. And now just gently roll right to left. Little half moon rolls. Getting a little stretch into this neck. Remembering to breathe. The exhale as we come down and inhale as we roll from side to side. Inhale. And exhale. One more on each side. Inhale. And exhale. And breath in. And exhale all of that air out. Dropping that chin down. Inhale, lift up the gaze. And exhale, just come to hands and knees. So bringing the knees underneath the hips and the wrists underneath the shoulders. So we're in a tabletop position. So a nice long straight line from the top of the head to the tailbone. Pressing the palms into the earth. So fingers can be spread really wide. Maybe engaging a little bit into that index finger and the thumb. And we're going to move into some cow and cat. So take an inhale, bring your gaze up, let your belly drop, hips lift. Cow pose here. Gaze is forward, nice stretch as we drop the spine down. And then at the exhale, curve the back, round it up, bring your gaze to your navel, push through, yeah. So this is one of those things that we can, right? Almost all of us are able to move into these cats and these cows of movement of the spine. Be gentle with yourself. Take an inhale, bring your gaze up. Exhale, round that back into cat pose. Inhale, gaze comes back up, cow pose, belly comes down. And at the exhale, rounding the back, gaze to the navel, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Two more of these. Take that breath in. Cow. Release the breath, rounding up into your cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. We're going to do one more. Inhale, lift that gaze up. And exhale, round that back. Nice. So now our spine is nice and warm. Come back to that flat back. And we're going to move into a little bit of a diagonal balance. So building balance from the ground up. Take your right hand out in front of you. So stretching the right arm long. The bicep is near your right ear. And take your left leg behind you. Let the toes stay glued down to your mat. So nice stretch from your right fingers to your left toes. And then just gently inhale, lift your right arm up. You're going to find your body twisting a little bit here. Only come to your level of comfort. So yeah, finding that thing that you can. Take in one more breath. And at the exhale, bring the right hand down, bring the left knee down. Nice. So just to realign again here. And we're going to take the left arm out now. Let that left bicep come up near the left ear. Stretch the right toes back. Reaching long. Gaze is down to your right thumb. Nice stretch. And then inhale that left arm up high. Reaching up. Gaze can come up or out in front of you or even down towards your thumb. See what feels right on your neck. Stay with the breath. Take in another inhale. Exhale, bring your fingers back down. Bring that knee down back into our tabletop. Let's do 3 more cat and cow. So inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Being present in the breath here. Inhale once more into that cow pose. And exhale into your cat. Finding that flat back, finding our tabletop. Gaze is down towards the hands. Just walk the hands forward a couple of inches. Keep the fingers spread. Curl your back toes under and lift your hips up. So coming into an inverted V, downward facing dog. Gaze is down towards the mat or down between the feet. Feet can be about hip distance apart. Stretch long into the arms, sink back. Let the head hang heavy. This is our first inversion. And we're bringing blood down into our brain here, which is super helpful for healing our brains. One of those things that yoga does is it helps build this equanimity in our body by activating all parts of our body, including the brain and including our vagus nerve, which starts up in our brain near the amygdala, near our fight, flight, and freeze center. And if we can balance that vagus nerve, which winds through our whole body, we can find release from stress. So take in 2 more breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. Breath in. And breath out. And then inhale. Walk your hands and feet towards each other. Knees are bent. Belly is resting on the thighs. Hang your head upside down. Interlace hands into the biceps and place the head between that frame of the arms. And what we want to do is relax into this pose. Knees can be really, really bent. This is called Uttanasana or forward fold. And we're just starting out by getting a nice stretch here in the low back. Oftentimes this particular pose, and we'll be moving into it a couple of more times in the practice, is about the hamstrings, and that's not where we start. We always start with getting the stretch in the low back. So a couple more breaths here, bringing again blood down into the brain. This helps to calm our reaction system, or in other words, we come into the parasympathetic when we come into this pose because we're closing off the sympathetic. We're closing off that fight, flight, and freeze. This helps to reduce our stress. It helps to reduce our reaction to things. It's the pause. So finding the serenity in this pose, right? Let's take an inhale. Drop your fingers down. Maybe they come down to the mat. Maybe they come to the shins. But we want to create a flat back from the top of our head to our tailbone. This is called a halfway lift. It's a transition pose. We will come into this pose a couple of times during this practice. So take a breath in here. Exhale, fold forward. And now inhale, take your time, come all the way up to standing. So stacking the spine on top of each other like pearls on a string. Bring the hands down to the sides. Gazes forward. This is standing pose, mountain pose. Feel the energy of the earth underneath the feet. Bring palms together with thumbs at heart center. Feel the heart beating underneath the thumbs. Building a connection here between body, mind, and spirit through the breath. So notice that flow of air again. And as you breathe, feel your feet on the floor and draw the energy of the earth up through the bottoms of the feet, through the legs and the hips and the spine, the shoulders, the neck, and along the crown of the head. Knowing that this space, your yoga mat, is a place of serenity, a place of peace, a place of presence, and a place of safety during this practice. So we're going to move through some sun A flow. They're called standing sun A's. And we'll start by taking an inhale, bringing arms and hands overhead, mountain pose Tadasana. And at the exhale, just gently diving forward. Head comes down, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward again. And then inhale, rise all the way up, mountain pose. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach the hands back up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, mountain pose. Exhale, bring your hands back to heart. One more. Inhale, reach all the way up, mountain. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, reach all the way up, back into our mountain pose, and then bringing your hands back to heart center. Again, connecting the feet with the ground, with the mat. Coming back into your breath, feeling the thumbs on top of the heart. Our next pose is chair pose. Take a breath in, bring arms and hands overhead, and then exhale, bring the knees into a bend, chair pose. So it's like you're sitting on a high chair, and toes are light, feet are pressing into the earth. This level of chair can be as intense or as relaxed as you like. So again, finding that little serenity prayer of changing the things we can, and so maybe we can come a little lower, but maybe not, and finding the wisdom, what's right for you. Pull the navel a little closer to the spine if you can. So this is going to engage the core. It's going to tip the tailbone down a little bit. Again, remember to keep the toes light, and above all, breathe. And then finally, maybe lift the corners of your mouth. Nice job, everybody. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Take your right foot and step it to the front of the mat, and step your left foot behind you into a lunge, and drop your left knee. Hands are on each side of the right foot, and let the chest come forward a little bit. Gaze comes forward. This is a crescent B. Nice stretch here. And then bring the hands up onto the right thigh, coming up a little bit taller. Nice. Engage your breath, straighten the spine. Again, maybe draw the navel in. You'll feel a little more activation in the quads. Remember to breathe. And then finally, bringing arms and hands overhead. So this completes that crescent B with the knee down. Strong pose. Brings up the heart rate. Take in one more inhale. And then exhale, just bring the left hand down on the inside of the right foot and twist open with the right arm. So little crescent twist here. And then bring that right hand down on the outside of the right foot. Come up on the back toes and just step that foot forward and step your right foot back. Crescent lunge on the other side, dropping the right knee. And starting out here with the hands on the floor, bringing the chest forward, little extension. Setting this pose up, being grounded and aware. And then bring hands up onto the left quad or the left thigh. Sitting up tall through the spine, gazes forward. Remember to breathe here. Always I'm cueing that. And then bring arms and hands overhead. Reaching up long, gazes forward. Let those shoulders kind of sink down the back. And then take right hand down on the inside of the left foot, leaving that left arm up, coming into the twist. So these twists get into our lymph systems. We're closing off the lymphs at the hip crease, which helps to activate them when we come out of this pose. It'll allow fresh fluids to fly in there, fresh blood. So this is where yoga definitely helps us in the body, by building and creating space in the cells for healing and for less stress. Bring that hand back down, come up on the toes of the right foot, step forward. Inhale, let's lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way back up into your mountain pose. And exhale. Bring hands back to heart. We are back to the beginning. We are back at the Samasthiti, the standing pose, the connection with the earth. Again, feel the heart underneath the thumbs. We're going to move into our next series. Keep your right foot forward, but step your left foot back. So your left foot is coming out 90 degrees or parallel with the back of your mat. Bend your right knee and extend your arms front to back. Coming into a warrior two, gaze comes over the right fingertips. Press the feet down, but let the toes be light. Nice. Warrior two. Building strength in the arms here. They often get shaky, and if they do, you can always bring hands to heart center. Taking an inhale. Bring right forearm down onto right thigh. Allow the left fingers to reach out long to the side. So reaching towards the front of your mat, or the right side of your mat. Feeling that nice stretch through the side body. And then bring the left hand down the back thigh, bring the right fingers up and bring your gaze up. So a little stretch for the neck, definitely a stretch for the right side. Legs are strong, maybe a little shaky right here. That's okay. Take in one more breath and then exhale, come back into your warrior two and turn your toes towards the side of your mat. And then turn your left toes in the opposite direction, coming into warrior two on the other side. So just take your time, set this up. We're going to stack the shoulders over the hips, stretch out long, stretch the fingers nice and long. Yeah, and again, arms might get tired. You can always let them relax. Check in with that left knee, make sure that it's stacking over your ankle and maybe allowing it to come a little bit more towards your left pinky toe. This helps to activate the inner thighs a little more. Take a breath in. Exhale, left forearm down onto left thigh, right fingers curl around out in front of you and then across. Reaching long. Extended warrior. Keep the feet planted. Maybe the knife edge of the right foot is pressing into the mat. You guys are awesome. You're doing great. Strong poses. Doing what we can. Take the right hand down the back thigh. Left fingers rise all the way up. Reverse warrior on this side. Remember to breathe. Use those inhales and those exhales to help you stay strong. One more inhale. Exhale. Come all the way back down. Turn these toes now towards the side of the mat. We're going to come into one more forward fold, wide-legged forward fold, Prasarita. So bring hands to the hips. Take an inhale. Maybe lift the gaze up a little bit and then exhale, fold all the way forward. Head comes down. Hands can come down onto the mat here. Let the head hang heavy. Continue to breathe. If you want, you can reach out for the ankles or the outsides of the feet. Helps pull you down a little bit more, but not necessary. It's bringing a little more blood into the brain. Allowing that blood to wash across those brain cells, bringing in more oxygen, more healing. And then bring your hands back into the center of the mat, lifting up halfway, toe healing feet together. And then taking your time, coming all the way back up to standing. And you can be at the top of the mat or your side of the mat. We are going to move into some balancing poses and one more chair twist. So take a breath in. Bring hands to heart. Exhale it all out. Take in an inhale. Exhale, find your chair. So gaze can be down or a couple feet out in front of you. And again, I'm going to just turn sideways for a second so you can see me pretty well here. And we're in that lightning bolt pose. And you can be as low or as high as you wish to. We're going to take a breath in, extend our spine a little bit more, and then exhale, twist to the right and place your left elbow onto your right thigh. And begin to look over your right shoulder. Just a little twist here. Check in with the knees. Make sure they're kind of pointing ahead like headlights. Intense pose. And inhale, come back to center. Exhale, fold. Take a little break. Grab your big toes with your peace fingers and fold forward. So this time our legs are a little bit straighter. We're extending our spine a little bit more deeply, releasing the low back, stretching the hamstrings. Couple of breaths here. And then let those toes go. And gently come all the way back up to standing arms and hands overhead, mountain pose. And exhale, hands to heart. Before we do the other side, we're going to come into tree pose. So ground into your right foot and take your left foot and you can rest it right here in the mat with the knee pointing out to the right, or you can take your foot and rest it on your ankle or on your shin or on your inner thigh. So find your level of comfort. Hands can be at heart center, or you can grow your tree. Gaze is forward. Nice job, everybody. Take a breath in. Exhale, bring hands back to heart and release. Just a little short balance there, and we're going to move on to the other side. So all the energy into the left foot and right foot comes up. So what these balancing poses do, you can reach arms up anytime you like, is it allows our left and right brain to talk to itself. This makes a happy brain. And when you have a happy brain, your brain is actually activating again that vagus nerve, reduces our trauma, it reduces our stress reactions, it calms the amygdala. This is where we create pause, when our right and left brain can talk to itself and build equanimity. Oftentimes when we're in addiction or when we're in behaviors that are not so healthy, our left and right brain are not as evenly matched. They're not in equanimity at all. So take that foot down, shake it out. Let's find our opposite chair twist. So take an inhale, bring arms and hands overhead, exhale. Come down into that chair, bring hands to heart. Take an inhale, extend the spine, exhale, twist. Left elbow, or right elbow, excuse me, on left knee. Looking to the left, twisting through that upper spine. Really intense pose, most intense. We're bringing out our inner organs, and we're also bringing into that vagus nerve, that winding nerve that comes all the way down through our digestive system. Take in one more breath. Come back to center. Exhale, bring those hands down. Take the feet out wide and come on down into a squat just for a couple breaths, little break, because from here we're going to come down onto our mat. It's a great stretch for our hips. It's called malasana or frog pose or whatever you want to kind of call it. It's a squat. It's comfortable, hopefully. It's a great stretch. Take in one more breath. Exhale it out. Come on down to seated. Nice. So we're going to take our feet, plant them on the floor, knees are bent, and come all the way down onto your back. Arms and hands are at your sides. And we're going to move into 3 bridge poses. These are little reverse back bends, which are great for straightening our spines, building a healthy spine. We're going to take a breath in, gently tilting that tailbone towards the sky, pressing the spine down, and lifting up the hips. Maybe roll the shoulders a little bit underneath you, arching the back, bending the back, resting on the shoulders. Look straight up if you can. I know you might be looking at the video, but once you do, then set it up and just look up. Only be here for another breath. And then exhale, bring your hips down, take a little break. Bridge pose is so good for reversing our back bends, for reversing the spinal trajectory. That was a big word to say. Lying here on my back, let's take an inhale. Press the spine down. Exhale, lift the hips up. Roll those shoulders again underneath you. Because oftentimes when we're in our regular days, we're hunched over the other direction. Whether we're on our phones or we're eating or driving in our cars, our shoulders are pointing in the opposite direction. And this pose helps reverse that trajectory. Take another breath in. Exhale, bring those hips down. Take another little break. So yeah, little moment to rest, letting the spine have a moment to create memory of where it's been. Take in one more inhale. Press that spine down. Exhale, lift those hips up. Again, clasping the hands underneath you, gaze stays up. Just a couple more breaths. One more inhale. Exhale, bring those hips all the way down. Arms are at your sides for the moment. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Knees butterfly open. Place one hand on the belly, one on the heart. Let the shoulders relax. Let the spine relax and breathe. Maybe close the eyes. We're just taking a moment here to release the low back, and maybe check in about what have you found or have had the courage to try today in this yoga practice. What have you allowed it to distract you from, maybe in the chatter of your mind, or even maybe from the discomfort of the body? So finding some serenity in the process. And just gently bring the knees back together. Take the hands behind the thighs and just rock yourself front to back a couple of times. A little roll on the spine here. And we're just going to come all the way up to seated. Take the legs straight out in front of you. Sit up tall. Take an inhale, bring arms and hands overhead. Stretch up high, and then exhale. Just gently fold forward. And you can stay up high here. Let the back be straight. Maybe the knees are slightly bent. This is Paschimottanasana or staff pose. Our hands are reaching for our feet, but they don't have to get there right away today. This is why we call it practice. We're gently building the stretch, gently building the flexibility in our spine. And just inhaling, extending the spine, exhale, let it relax. And you might find yourself sinking a little bit lower with each breath. Eventually, maybe the belly resting on the thighs. No forcing, no pushing, just breathing. Breathing and stretching. We'll only be here for a couple more breaths. And then inhale, walk those hands all the way back up. Spine comes up tall. Take your right foot and place it on the outside of your left knee. And take your right hand behind the right hip. Bring the left arm up. And then gently twist your body to the right and place the left elbow on the outside of the right thigh. And look over the right shoulder. Little twist here for the hips and for the upper spine. And then come back to center. And we'll switch sides. These are our final twists for the practice. Left hand behind the left hip, right arm comes up, right elbow on the outside of the left thigh and twist. Look over that left shoulder if you can. Remember to breathe. Coming back to center, and we're going to do one more little hip stretch. We're going to come into Baddha Konasana or cobbler's pose. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Let the knees just drop. And everyone's cobbler's pose is going to be a little bit different. I actually don't have a ton of stretch in my hips. So for me, my knees are up high. If I had some blocks, maybe I would place them underneath the knees. Some people may find that their knees go all the way down. Grasping a hold of the feet may help a little bit in holding them steady. Sit up tall through the spine if you can. We're just going to take a couple of breaths here before we move into our Shavasana. That final resting pose, that place of creating that serenity, for creating the knowledge of knowing what we can or cannot change, right? So I think of it often as the place where the cells actually create that memory of a change in belief system. it creates that space for joy. It creates that space for peace through the changing of our belief system through the cells. Nice. Just bring the knees back together and gently roll all the way onto your back. Draw your knees in towards your chest, big squeeze. Gaze can be up. Roll out on the spine. Move down a little bit so that you can see all of this stretch when we get there. And then bring the legs out long. Take the feet to the outside edges of your mat. And let the hands rest or your arms rest at your sides. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. Otherwise, set a drishti, a soft focus up above you. Let the breath soften. Let the body sink down into the mat, allowing it to become heavy. A time of rest, Shavasana. Breathe gently. Allow that peace, ease, and joy weave its way through the body in silence. And then just gently begin to wiggle fingers and toes and deepen your breath. And draw your knees in towards your chest and roll either onto your right or to your left side, pillowing your cheek on the forearm. And just coming back into connection with the body. And then push yourself up to seated. Keep the eyes closed. So returning to where we started from. Bringing palms together with thumbs at heart center. And we express gratitude for our practice of courage to change the things we can. Serenity to accept the things we can't. And the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Take a breath in, bring thumbs to the center of your forehead. And exhale, bow your chin down. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the practice, and I'll see you next time.